Hello and welcome to Week 1, Unit 2 of our OpenSAP course, Touch IoT with SAP Leonardo. My name is Lisa Herbert and I'm a Product Manager on the IoT Smart Connected Business team here at SAP. In this unit, we'll take some time to talk about how imagination and innovation might go hand in hand. But first things first, let's talk about what is imagination. You probably imagine a dozen or more things every day. And in fact, I can make you imagine something new right now. Let's try it. Close your eyes. It is now the hottest day of summer. You're on vacation and are lying in the sun. You realize you really want to cool off, and so you imagine yourself jumping into a nearby body of water. Okay, open your eyes again. Maybe you saw something like this picture in your imagination. But then again, maybe not. You may have imagined an entirely different version of how you jump into water to cool yourself off. But what is imagination? What are you doing when you did that thing you just did? The obvious answer is that you're forming a mental picture of the place or water that you're going to jump into. You're taking some impressions and are putting them together in the shape of a lake or an ocean or another body of water. Could you imagine what it would be like if we couldn't imagine things? The human brain is so amazing that we often take for granted how special it is. Our ability to think creatively and solve problems is something we can do in a way almost no other creature on earth can. But let's see how imagination plays into the picture in the context of creativity and innovation. Over the past several years, innovation has become an incredibly trendy business trend. People are often talking about wanting more innovation. However, they forget that innovation is as much a part of a process as it is a result. Imagination is actually the fuel that starts this process. You're not going to get creativity if you don't have imagination first, and you're not going to get innovation if you don't have creativity first. Imagination is the first step, and is often the step easily missed. In the business context, when considering a product for a customer, imagination allows you to think, what does the customer want and need? You have to imagine yourself in that customer role. What might your customer want in 6 months, a year, 2 years that they don't want today? And that is imagination. Without imagination, people cannot look at problems from new perspectives. Without imagination, people cannot think through how various solutions to a problem would work. And lastly, without imagination, people simply cannot dream up new ideas. Okay, now I want to show you some inspiring examples where imagination followed by creativity fueled innovation. I'm talking about innovations from Leonardo da Vinci. You might think of Da Vinci the painter when first hearing his name, but Leonardo da Vinci's true genius lay in his imagination and draughtsmanship rather than his practical engineering skills. So, what made Leonardo da Vinci such a great artist was also what made him such a great inventor: his fascination with the world around him. His mind was an extraordinary playground where ideas from nature mixed with his own inspiration. Let me show you some examples. Even though the first actual helicopter wasn't built until the 1940s, it is believed that Leonardo da Vinci's sketches from the late 15th century were the predecessor to the modern-day flying machine. As with many of Da Vinci's ideas, he never actually built and tested it, but his notes and drawings mapped out exactly how the device would operate. Another example is the parachute. Credit for the invention of the first practical parachute usually goes to Sébastien Lenormand in 1783. However, Leonardo da Vinci actually conceived the parachute ideas a few hundred years earlier. Again, also this idea was never actually built or tested by Leonardo himself. But in 2000, a prototype based on Da Vinci's design was constructed and tested. Despite skepticism from experts, Da Vinci's design worked as intended and provided a smooth ride. Before motorized vehicles were even a glimmer in someone's eye, Leonardo da Vinci designed a self-propelled cart capable of moving without being pushed. Many consider Da Vinci's self-propelled cart invention to be the world's first robot. Da Vinci's cart design was so ahead of its time that its exact workings confused scientists until the late 20th century. But in 2006, a working model based on Da Vinci's design was built, and to the surprise of many, the cart actually worked. Another idea of Leonardo da Vinci was his revolving bridge. This bridge could be quickly packed up and transported by armies to pass over bodies of water. While working in Venice, the water city, Da Vinci also designed his scuba gear for sneak attacks on enemy ships from underwater. Da Vinci's idea for scuba gear didn't actually become well known until his drawings and notes were published after his death. Okay, we'll come back to Leonardo in week 2 of this course, but now let's switch gears and talk a bit about mass innovation. A mass innovation is the type of innovation that improves the lives of billions of people. It is always easy to identify in hindsight, but difficult to identify early on, especially in its truly innovative state. Think of the massive brick of cell phone from like 25 years ago, an innovative but super expensive toy, compared to the true cell phone innovation of today, the iPhone, the most successful tech product of all time, with over 1 billion units sold. And that's why we have to be willing and excited to try new things, fail fast, and keep iterating on ideas. But also remember that you don't have to invent something no one has thought of before. Innovation doesn't always mean coming up with something completely new. Oftentimes, innovation is an iteration of something, meaning how can you make things which already exist even better? So, for example, think of a smart bandage. The idea that a bandage can sense how well a wound is healing and then releases embedded medication to fight an infection. This already exists. Great. But why isn't it the default way that we think of bandages rather than a thing we have to remind people exists? Perhaps there are still tons of iteration and innovation to be done on many IoT examples to make them amazing, rather than having them only in a cool concept in an infant state. Let's start with autonomous vehicles. More than 30,000 people are killed in accidents on the road each year, just in the United States. And over 2 million get injured. The problem is that 94% of collisions are caused by driver error. But autonomous vehicles, also known as driverless cars, are now a plausible solution to this issue and are no longer simply an idea of the future. They are already being tested on the roads around us and very soon will become a part of every commuter's reality. It will promote a safer driving experience because the vehicle is in control of itself and is part of a connected network of other vehicles, all being able to react to changing conditions much more quickly and effectively than humans. So since these vehicles are directly communicating with the environment, this minimizes the chance of human error and thus can eliminate accidents. Next, I want to talk about the agriculture sector. There are so many countries which are still agriculturally based, and plenty of people are still working out in the fields. Thanks to modern IoT technology, there are now ways to improve this sector. Think, for instance, of irrigation systems. Currently, the amount of water is distributed evenly to all fields, no matter how much water the crops actually require. Oftentimes, this can mean underwatering of some crops and overwatering of others, which ends up in lots of water wasted. Now, there's a way to optimize crop irrigation with smart irrigation sensors. Those are placed into soil, and the system of sensors analyzes important factors to help farmers determine how much water is needed in different parts of the field. Clever, right? Also, the next example has still something to do with water. Billions of people in developing countries go through their day-to-day lives drinking water that is deemed unsafe for the human body. Thanks to IoT, sensors can be placed in water streams to not only monitor the water quality, but also send alerts when a water pump breaks. This allows quicker replacement time to ensure that people in the area are still getting enough water. Other great IoT use cases can be found in the healthcare sector. It seems like almost every year there's an extreme health crisis in a developing nation. But what if that could be prevented? This is possible thanks to wearable tech. These devices collect all kinds of patient data, from body temperature to oxygen saturation, and over time the sensors can help predict where an outbreak is going to spread and allow enough aid workers to get to the infected area before it's too late. But what about natural disasters? Could IoT help predict them? Yes, it could. A tsunami warning system, for instance, is used to detect tsunamis in advance. In this case, sensors are placed on the ocean floor and measure waves and water flow. If the sensors detect a tsunami, alarms will be sent out to permit evacuation of the coastal areas. The same scenario exists for earthquake warning systems. Sensors here can be installed in buildings, bridges, buses, undergrounds, roads, etc. And based on this data, scientists get a better understanding of where earthquakes are going to occur in the future, and can also help people prepare for the eventual earthquake. And then lastly, I want to mention the problem of internet connectivity in some parts of the world. Unbelievable but true. More than half of the world's population is still without internet access. In order to make IoT happen, you need, of course, an internet connection. Google took on this problem and created Project Loon. It is a network of balloons traveling on the edge of space. High-speed internet is transmitted up to the nearest balloon from Google's telecommunication partner on the ground, relayed across the balloon network, and then back down to users on the ground. This allows people to have internet connectivity even in remote areas. What a fantastic idea. Okay, so now let's quickly sum up what we've learned in this unit. We started off with how imagination was and will be the start of any successful invention. It also provided a quick snapshot of many of Leonardo da Vinci's innovations as an example of this. Then we talked a bit about mass innovations, like the cell phone, and how it is difficult to identify those early on. And then finally, I showed you some IoT examples, which will help make the world a better place. Okay, so coming up next, we'll talk about sensors, connectivity, and insights. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you soon.